And we're back. Dan Dyker, Al Losi. It's the Seven Rivers Racing Show here on KQEG TV. Remember, youtube.com/Seven Rivers Racing. All the shows are being posted on the website. Close to 1,500 views in just a matter of about 4 weeks or so. Al Losi is going to jump in. You've got some very interesting point races coming up and 2 new items coming out of Dells Raceway Park.
Yes, in the late models, the Quick Trip NASCAR late models at the Crosse Speedway. First in points is Todd Korish. 5 points behind is Jay Herbst, and Steve Carlson 7 points behind. Shawn Pfaff is 11. In 5th place is Matthew Henderson, followed by Bill Niles, Skylar Holtzhausen, Mike Carlson, Brent Kirchner, and Jeremy Wagner. In the North Country Contractors Grand National Sportsman Division, Jimmy Gilster with 108 points. His brother Jimmy is 2 points behind. Randy Humfeld is tied, only 2 points behind. Matt Inglet is 10 points behind. In 5th is Greg Scheck. 6th is Jake Arneson. 7th is Troy Mayer. 8th is Brandon Berg. 9th is Jason Dummer. And 10th is Brian Hesselberg. In the United Auto Supply Thunderstocks, in 1st place is Adam Moore. 2nd place is Jake Kruger. 3rd place is Brad Worthen. 4th place is Jason Bolster. And in 5th is Rusty Winchell. In the Volden Construction Outlaws, John Olson is out in front. It seems like he's always out there in front out there. Jerry Ellsworth is 2 points behind. Rusty Winchell is 4 points behind. And Daniel Fredette is 6 points behind. In the Novelty Division, Brad Worthen from Sparta is in 1st place. 2nd place is Andy Moore. 3rd place is Jake Kruger. 4th place is Kayla Steinhoff. And in 5th is Jason Bolster. In the late model dash, Shawn Pfaff leads the dash division there. Jay Herbst is in 2nd. 3rd is Todd Korish. 4th is Steve Carlson. And in 5th is Adam Degenhart. In the sportsman dash, it's Jimmy Gilster out in front, followed by Dan Gilster. 3rd is Randy Humfeld. 4th is Chad Rosendahl. And 5th is Greg Scheck. In the Thunderstock dash, you've got Brad Worthen, followed by Jason Bolster, Rusty Winchell, Chris Weber, and Andy Moore.
So again, some very tight point races evolving already at the La Crosse Fairgrounds Speedway. We're going to talk about some Dells news coming up here in the next segment of the program. We do want to get our guest in today. He is leading the Thunderstock. Oh boy,
Sportsman.
I'm going to go back some years there. Late model dash points. He's currently 4th in points for the Quick Trip NASCAR late models. Your 2010 track champion, Shawn Pfaff. John, thanks for joining us today.
Well, thanks for having me. It was a pleasure.
Well, I asked you the first week out in the pits if you felt there was a bullseye in the back. You know, you've had track champion before, and you've kind of felt the pressure there, but that was years ago. Now you're in a late model. You've got a different crop of drivers coming up. Are you feeling after week 2 that the bullseye is firmly attached to your back with the red and white car, and similarly the same color of a bullseye?
The first week I knew that everybody'd be gunning for what we were going to do and how we were going to come out and start the season. You know, if we were going to come out and be as tough as we were at the beginning of last year and all the way through the year. We struggled a little bit first night when we were out there. We ended up 4th in the feature, winning the 6 for 6, but we had some issues with the car. We had a lot of stuff to work on, a lot of things to work out. Didn't get as many practices in as we'd like to have. And I think now, being the 2nd weekend, I mean, we had a good qualifying run with 2nd. And, finished 4th in the feature again. I think now the eyes are kind of switched and they're looking at a few other drivers, but they'll still, I'm sure, be wondering, what we're doing and how we're doing. Hopefully we can pick things up here and get ourselves back up on top.
Give us your thoughts on how last season ended. It was so close between you and Jay Herbst. Brent Kirchner all of a sudden slowly, as you look at the points, all of a sudden crept up and was, I think, 32 back with a couple of nights to go. You had to like that kind of racing where you knew that everything had to be 110%, not only with the car, but your mindset, knowing Jay Herbst was a point or two behind.
It made it tough. I mean, you knew that every night you'd start watching where everybody finished, and you had to have a good finish because the other guys were coming and having good, consistent finishes every night, like Brent Kirchner. I mean, I think he was in the top 5 the last 5-6 weeks every night. And we were starting to struggle at that point where we were having a few things happen. Nothing breaking on the car, but just we were missing the setup a little bit. We had to set up really good through the middle of the season, and then when things started to cool down a little bit, we lost a little bit of that.
Now, when you're setting the car up, In practice, are you mainly looking to set that car up on the low side, or do you now have to start thinking about how that car is going to be set up for the high side with those double file restarts?
Well, with a double file restart, you definitely got to have a car that's going to work in the outside, because that double file restart is really going to help you get back up through the field or get yourself repositioned if you fell back kind of in the shuffle of the race at the beginning.
Does that have an effect on how the car is going to work then when you're by yourself down low, or do you feel there's really not that much of a compromise?
There's a difference. I mean, you might have a car that works really good on the bottom. Like Saturday night, I thought our car was pretty decent. We didn't even go out for the second practice session because I thought we had a good car. But there again, I was out running the low groove, and it felt really good in the low groove. And not until in the 6-for-6, I think on the third lap, I went on the outside of Jeremy Wagner to try and make a pass on the outside, and I couldn't do it. I was glad that I was able to slide down in behind him before Carlson got there so that I could work my way then underneath Jeremy. But it does make a difference. You got to get the outside set up in the car.
Really quickly, Shawn Pfaff, our returning track champion, joining us on the program. Your thoughts on the double wide restarts?
I like them. You got to get out there, and it takes a while at the beginning of the season. Like I was telling you, I had my 11-year-old boy come down and told me that I made a big mistake the first night out, that I didn't choose the outside when we had the chance for a double file. But there again, that night I had known I was in the outside earlier in the race and had to get down, and as I just wouldn't work out there, so I was scared to go to the outside. What happened there was the caution came out soon enough with that double file restart that the other cars that had went to the outside were able to just file into line. So had I went out there, it wouldn't have mattered if the car was that good or not. I would have been able to start farther up in the field because the yellow came out within the first lap.
We've got some video we're going to show in our next segment of Shawn in that double wide restart. It has been one of the most interesting challenges for late model drivers. Albert obviously knows, Shawn obviously knows. It is so much fun to call. I call it the chess match of the track, is where you watch your favorite driver, number one, how close they get to the cone that's placed out, and number two, what kind of confusion that causes the driver behind him, because you could be coming out of turn 4 and have a mindset of where you want to start, whether you want to be behind the leader or you want to be in the front row. And if the driver in front of you at the last second pulls off or pulls down, you know, no matter how your car's set up, you're going to have a totally different mindset as how you're going to get back and restart that race. And I think that the consensus is the late model drivers like the double file restarts. It's fantastic to call. I know the fans are loving watching that group of cars coming out of turn 4. And the chess match is going to continue, and we're going to break that down more with our guest, Shawn Pfaff, the 2010 late model track champion, LOC Dan Dyker. We'll be back with more with Shawn Pfaff on the Seven Rivers Racing Show here on KQEG TV.